we are here to discuss Ola's first international foray. As you may be already knowing, there's this announcement today morning about Ola foraying into Australia. So with me here today is Sindhu Kashyap, who knows a whole lot about Ola and more. Straight away I'm going to ask her about this announcement. What's this expected?
Yeah, it has actually been in speculation for a couple of weeks now, and it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out. It has been expected actually for a couple of weeks because I think there were reports that their investors and especially SoftBank has been pushing for Ola to look into different markets as well. So, yeah, it is expected.
Right. I mean, for the longest time, the threat was posed by Uber, and there was this talk that Ola, could get crushed by Uber in India, but right now the way it's going, Ola seem to be putting all the pressure on Uber now.
Absolutely. So, Ola has innovated in ways which Uber did not think. So, they've always had the advantage of knowing the Indian market and the Indian consumer. One of the biggest things that they bought out, like Ola got out, was Ola Play, which worked as a big differentiator factor. Then there was Ola Select and the Share Pass. So, all of these differentiators they did try to bring in. Yeah, but both of them are really still in stiff competition, but Ola is really giving them a tough fight. That's right. Very tough fight, in fact. So in India at least, yeah.
Uber, I think globally had faced a lot of hurdles on regulatory aspects. People always felt Uber kind of always as a company that kind of gets very close to the line. And in Australia, they have a very strong market share, right? So how do you think Ola can cope?
It's actually going to be very interesting to see how this pans out because as a business, cab aggregation has to fight a lot with the regulations, both sides, whether it's Ola or Uber, they have to try and get as close to the line as possible because the dynamics is very different and the market is going to be very different for Ola because the consumers are very different. You're going to be reaching out to a more evolved set of consumers. You're going to talk to possibly a completely different consumer. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Ola breaks into such a market, what their plans are, how they intend to get the consumer and actually try and take a market share from Uber. It's going to be, I'm not going to say it's easy or difficult, I'm going to say it's tough. Okay. It's going to be really tough, but I'm sure Ola can manage it. It looks like it, otherwise the plans won't be there for a global expansion.
That's right. But having said that, Australia is a very mature market from a cab aggregator standpoint. So do you think Ola is probably late in entering a place like Australia?
No, because currently in Australia there's GoCatch and then there is Uber, which are doing well. So in this market, there's always it seems like a winner take all market, okay. But if you look at the need of the consumer, it works it's always I'm talking as a consumer right now, but as a consumer, if I have more options, it's always easier and better, right? And it will be interesting to see how they work into the driver relationships there, setting up the routing systems there, because in India I think one of the biggest challenge for any cab aggregator in India is understanding the address and mapping. They never get it as perfectly as it is. It's going to be easier in that sense for Ola there, but we'll have to see if the consumers will be willing to try something new.
That's true. Now, what next for Ola? Now that you've entered Australia, what next?
So obviously they'll be looking at New Zealand. New Zealand looks like the next market, and there were also speculations that they were looking closely into London, and London has been a difficult market already for Uber, and it is as such a very difficult market because the black cab unions are very, very strong in London. So I think about that. Maybe Southeast Asia is another market they could look at, but they already have their one of their investors and
that's right, yeah,
allies there. So, but we'll see. Mostly it will be Australia, New Zealand, and possibly parts of Europe, Eastern Europe.
Okay. Thanks, Sindhu. I think looks like it is Ola 2.0 with their foray into international markets now. I'm sure in the next few months, I think they're probably entering more markets as well.